now. All right, good afternoon, team. Morning, whenever you're watching this. Welcome to Ben Jones. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Yourself?
Yeah, very, very good. And thank you for sparing a few minutes on your day off as well. We're just going to continue our interview series. Ben came on board, Ben, 6 months ago, 7 months ago?
Yeah, four months ago now.
4 months ago, yep. And he's been spearheading our Coburg project along with Chris Gill. So why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, Ben? You obviously one of our awesome Kiwi guys, but tell us a bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so I've been in Melbourne 2.5 years now, I think, and come directly from London. So spent 2.5 years over there as well. Studied in Otago and Queensland, and yeah, just enjoying Melbourne life at the moment as much as I can, I guess.
Yeah, fantastic. And whereabouts are you from in New Zealand?
Feilding, so middle of the North Island.
Middle of the North Island, yep. Nice. All right. So you came on board to spearhead our Coburg project. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it? Obviously, we've seen the updates that you've emailed. Thank you very much. We've seen the Facebook links that Chris Gill sent and a couple of the videos that Chris Gill sent. Mate, it's looks like an epic project. So just first of all, before we get into it, thank you very much, and a huge well done to you and also the rest of the Victorian team down there that have been working on the job. So thank you very, very much. And yeah, tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know. I got on board about a month before the project began, the occupation began, and there's a lot to do. And obviously we had to hire roughly 10 new surveyors as well to the team, and bringing those all together was the first challenge. And to everyone's credit, they got on board and bought into what we were trying to do very quickly, and everyone was very committed to the project, which made my life a lot easier than it could have been. So I guess the first couple of weeks we spent mainly looking at control. Obviously the narrow corridor has its own issues, and we installed a lot of control to try avoid any potential issues in that regard. And I guess looking at design, we had to get all the design ready, so we weren't trying to chase our tail during the occupation as well. And so the first 4 weeks was mainly just roughly getting everyone up to speed and having a look at what we needed to do. And we got pretty close to where we needed to be before the occupation began, which was great. And once again, just a credit to everyone. But then that's when the fun began, and the 97-day occo, which is about 10 days away from being finished, began, which was good. And obviously a site going 24 hours, and we had up to, I think, 14 people a day on site. So that's just surveyors from TSS. So it was all go, and there was a lot going on. And I think the guys were quite shocked how sometimes they'd go on leave for 2 days and come back and the site looked totally different. But in general, we built, and it was a very successful job, but we built 2.2 k's of elevated bridge, and we got the bridge structure up itself in about 47 days, I think, and that was ready to go. And then obviously all the services, putting in a new combined services route, which is a trench of up to 25 conduits, and all the existing kind of civils packages going around as well. So it was a very eye-opening project, even for myself, who's worked on a few occupations now, just the rate that it moved. And I think there was up to 800 people on site each day, probably more. That's just in the day shift. So there was a lot going on, and there's a lot of obviously potential hazards and issues that came with that, but everyone did really well, and we stuck to what we knew, and we came out the other side looking good, I think. And like I said, no hiccups. We did lose one total station during the process, but I think we'd all take that happily, and no one was injured, or no survey errors to speak of. So it's been good, and I think some of the process we put in place early there allowed us to do that, and just simple things like using benchmarks every day and making sure everyone was using the same codes and that kind of thing did really help us. There's obviously a lot we've learned from that, and Chris and I have reviewed some of those in the recent days, and little things like a better folder structure and having a job register and that kind of thing would have helped us save some time searching for data that people had picked up in that. But in general, for what we had against us, we did very well, and yeah, it's been good fun, and it's brought the group of us down here in what has been a tough time in Melbourne pretty close, I think, and we're looking forward to easing restrictions to kind of carry that on, I think.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, you talked about processes there. What was a process that you found you needed to improve in the first couple of weeks of the occupation?
Yeah, definitely the folder structure and how we, I guess, communicated what had been done and having, well, yeah, we tried to implement a job register and that kind of thing, but I think there's so much data being captured. People were using up to 6-7 jobs. Jiggers were staying on site, 48 hours at a time without coming off site because they were busy with all the landings of precast and that. So a method where we could capture who had done what would have definitely been something we need to look at for next time. And saying that people did do the right thing and had it in their personal job folders, and as-built data was getting placed in the right area, but it took a lot of effort to kind of bring all that together. As if we had a better structure and we had a more clear kind of path and method for people to find that data, we would have been able to probably bring that data quicker together.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yes, I'd suggest, and for everybody else listening, watching, if we imagine our folder structure for our projects 2 years ago and what they are today, and even 6 months ago and what they are today, little things like folder structures and what they are today within TSS, and even what they are on site there, it'll just be a progressive improvement. There'll be other improvements that you come up with. So awesome. When you just said there an instrument might be 48 hours on site, what do you mean by that?
So when you're landing beams and the crane crews and that aren't stopping, so our guys were working 12 hours was what we kicked it to in general. But when big lifts and guys were flat out everywhere, some guys had to stay on for longer, and so the guys coming in would just go straight to site after pre-start and then go straight to the instrument with a new set of batteries, and the guy leaving site would take the batteries and put them on charge, and then so there was times there where it was just always roving, and people were coming in early to give guys breaks and let them go home, and so it was very hard to take data off controllers, and you don't want to. We were doing everything we could not to stop work, which we did, and which has worked out really well, but it just meant that some total stations were staying on site for large periods of time, and
interesting.
Obviously it was hard for that person to go into the office after 12, 13-hour days and 6 days in a row to process data or to do anything like that, and that's something we definitely have to look at, a better process, whether that's a data manager solely in the office that can focus on that, and if someone just brought a USB in with the data and they were able to do that. But it did work because we just kept it in the same job and did a bulk download. But yeah, it definitely did stress me out sometimes of that amount of data being out on site or not being processed. We're always opening ourselves up to some potential issues. We did get around it, but moving forward, a better process in that would definitely be required, and I think would help everyone sleep at night.
Yep. All right. And if we were talking to the client, so the client, I understand, is John Holland.
Yep.
And I think it was a JV. Who was the JV with?
It's just John Holland.
So it's just John Holland. All right. I think they might have had a design
team, yeah.
WSP or something like that. If we were talking to the client, John Holland, what is some of the feedback that they'd give about our guys on the side and about our team as in general?
I think the first thing they recognise is that we're all pretty young, which I definitely don't think is a bad thing, and I don't think they do now either, because the energy that the team brought was really positive. And like I say, people were more than willing to stay back, and we tried to prevent that for fatigue, obviously. But people were willing to do anything for the project, and it really shined. And you know, we just had people on site with good energy and good attitude, and I think they really appreciated that. And obviously, it can get pretty ugly in the middle of an occupation like that, with so many moving parts, and a little mistake can cause big hold-ups, and obviously a lot of money at play. So I think no one was overawed by it all, and I think they enjoyed that aspect, that we did bring something a little bit different than maybe other survey teams out there. And I think that puts us in a good position moving forward, because I think people now just want bigger and better, and they want to get on these big jobs because it is a lot of fun. And I think that's definitely one aspect that they'll like. I think overall, all our as-built and everything we've handed to the client is in really good condition, and it looks neat, and it's all standardised. And I think that's been one thing that they've noticed, is that everything is the same, and they know what to expect from us now. It can be hard with different, obviously there's probably 150 engineers in the office, so everyone wants something slightly different. But in general, we've been able to find a happy medium, and all our as-builtings all really consistent in that as well. So it's easy to understand, and I think they can jump between it all and have a clear idea what's been done to date.
Not a problem. So if the client was giving us a score out of 10, what would they give us?
All things considered, I'd have to say 7.5. I don't see, there's definitely things internally they might not see that we can improve on, and we know that, and we're working hard on feature codes and that at the moment. But in general, I'd hope to think that we scored pretty high. Yeah, I mean, the fact that the whole project's early, we did it pretty tough there with our numbers for a while. Just a few people wanted us to be pretty restricted, and certain engineers and supervisors wanted more guys on site, and we did well with the numbers we were allowed to have. And yeah, like I say, no major issues or anything. So I'd have to say 7.5 is probably a pretty fair score.
Not a problem. All right, what's been your favourite thing about the project?
Just the way everyone's come together. I think we've created a pretty good culture, and it hasn't been easy, and everyone's going through their own little things down here at the moment. So I think just the way everyone's kind of done, like I said earlier, everyone would happily stay on site to make it that little bit easier for the next guys coming in, which after, working those big hours isn't always easy. So I think just the attitude from everyone involved has been really good, positive, and give it the core group of guys we got moving forward is really promising, and I'm excited to see what we get next and what we can achieve in the near future.
So fantastic, and thank you very much to the whole team for those. It's those little 1%ers. It's staying an extra half an hour to help somebody. Sometimes it might be staying an extra 2 hours. Sometimes it might be getting in there a little bit early. But you can just hear from Ben, his favourite thing is how everyone came together, which kind of ties in with my previous videos on becoming raving team members, or other team members raving about you, like Ben is doing right now. He's raving about other guys, and it might not have been someone helping him, but he can see somebody else helping somebody else. So our interaction with people is important, and for you to have that as your favourite thing, everybody else down there, well done. All right, so that's about it, and thank you very much, Ben, and once again, thank you to the team down there.
Thank you, mate. Good to talk to you.
Thanks.